All right. Well, the recording has started. Again, just a reminder, this is being recorded and will be available online for you to watch or rewatch later on. But welcome, everyone. Thank you so much for joining me today for our webinar on Laureate College's Beyond the Classroom program. My name is Dr. Christopher Hinchcliffe. I am the Director of Student Life at Laureate College, and it's a pleasure to be speaking with you all today. Again, there will be time for Q&A at the end. So if you want to throw questions into the chat, we'll make sure we get to them then, or you can hold on to them and just ask them out loud when we get to you or when we get to that stage. Also, a quick reminder, right? If you are taking notes or anything like that, right, please don't annotate the screen. I think we've got that setting turned off now, but let's begin. I want to start with this title slide before moving on, just to highlight the subtitle I've given to this webinar, which is Transforming People. Our motto here at Laureate College is Forward Learning, Transforming People. And so this is the second half of that motto that I've attached as a subtitle, because I do believe that our Beyond the Classroom program, this is where the transforming people bit really shines. Okay, so obviously we have our excellent academic programs, but it's everything that we do outside of the classroom, outside of those academics, that really helps shape the characters and values of our students. So, quick introduction to the agenda for today. I'm going to briefly introduce the program some more, and then we'll talk about the four pillars of this program. These are the weekly co-curricular activities. We'll sometimes call them clubs, but I mean those terms interchangeably. Leadership opportunities, annual events, and of course, our house system. All right, so diving right in, let me start by introducing Beyond the Classroom, its philosophy, and how we approach it here at Laureate. So as it says here, our goal is to provide a diverse range of co-curricular, extracurricular, and leadership opportunities. I have a hand. There, sorry, I'll pause there for a second. There was a hand raised. Is that an urgent question from Vivian? Okay, I'll continue. Again, if you fire your questions into the chat, if it is urgent, Mr. Zhang will respond. Okay, so back to the introduction here. We want to provide a diverse range of co-curricular, extracurricular, and leadership opportunities for our students. Again, providing them opportunities does not mean mandatory. In some cases it is, in many cases it's optional, but our goal really is to give them as many chances as possible to explore and expand their own interests, their own talents, and foster leadership and as well the value of service along the way. And I'll talk a little bit more about that later. Again, we want to cater not only to what we believe students should be learning, but what they are particularly interested in. We recognize that all of our students have unique interests and talents, and we want to facilitate the growth of those and the exploration of those as much as possible. The campus itself is located in Burlington, Ontario, as we say, nestled beneath the Niagara Escarpment on a beautiful 50-acre property. It is a short trip to the local city of Burlington and the major city of Toronto, but you would never feel like you were near a city when you're on the campus. It is, though a short drive from the highway, it really does feel like you are in a sort of rural or pastoral landscape. The natural beauty of the place is quite stunning and something that we try to work into as many of our programs as possible. Again, many of our opportunities complement the academic side. So whether it's something simple like a debate club, right? This will take skills that the students are working working on in their classrooms and apply them outside of the classroom to other real world issues or issues that are interesting to them, so they can continue what they learn in the classroom outside. Again, the goal is to promote creativity, teamwork, and personal growth. So I mentioned the 4 pillars here. Let me break these down here as well. Weekly co-curriculars, leadership opportunities, annual events, outdoor education, and as well our house system. Okay, and I'm going to break down each of these in a second. Again, I want to highlight this idea that service is a guiding principle throughout all of these. So each of these categories involves at least one option that is sort of volunteer based or giving back to our community. We believe this is one essential value that we try to promote in all of our students. Not only because to earn their high school diplomas here in Ontario, it is a requirement, but because we genuinely believe it is a core component of good global citizenship, that you have a service mindset in anything you do. So let's begin with a brief rundown of our weekly co-curricular program. Again, I'll use the term clubs as well. Sometimes I think club sounds a little bit too casual, a little informal. And while these are not strictly regimented, we do like to think of them more as complements to the curriculum. Okay, so these are not completely divorced from learning or from academia, right? They complement it, which is why we use this term co-curricular. But it's a bit of a mouthful, so you will hear me say club as well. We do offer these programs Monday to Thursday from 3:30 to 4:30, so almost immediately after school. And for our boarding students who live here at the school, this is a requirement. They must choose a club every day. Now, we try and offer them 2 or 3 options on any given day. All right. And we rotate these termly. Okay. So just jumping to the last point here, we operate 4 terms here at Laureate, each term running about 10 weeks. And within those 10 weeks, 1 or 2 weeks will be set aside for exams, or there might be a major holiday in there. So you're looking at about 8 weeks of club activity times 4. And because the students have 2 to 3 each day to choose from, and these rotate every term, we shuffle what is available. Students could have 30 or 40 options to choose from over the course of a school year. And our boarding students, will be required to then take 16 clubs over 16 clubs over the course of the school year. Again, some of these will be repeated, but as you can see, the variety is a big selling point of what we're offering here. Again, commitment is important. So again, club suggests you can come and go as you please, but after the first trial week, students must commit to the clubs that they sign up for. Okay. Again, these are only sort of 2-month commitments, but they are expected to show up, to participate, and to be active in these clubs. So we are trying to instill this sense of, once you've chosen something, right, that you're sticking with it. We can divide these activities into 2 broad categories. We have instructor-led. This doesn't necessarily mean teacher. We do sometimes bring outside experts of a particular subject or activity to come in and offer a little more guidance. All right, so you'll have a sort of guided club or activity where there's instruction given, and this helps students learn new skills or to develop particular skills that they already have. And then we have student-led. These are still adult supervised, but this is a way for students to share their own passions with their colleagues and to grow and develop skills or interests that they already have. Again, because we take these activities seriously as an extension of their curriculum, we do in fact issue report cards every term where we will have some brief comments on the students' general attitude towards the club, comments on their leadership, responsibility, attendance, obviously, right, their commitment, how well they work with others within the club. So students will get feedback and parents will see feedback about how their students are actually participating in these activities. So you can see this is a big core component of our co-curricular or of our beyond the classroom programming. I mentioned there's quite a variety of clubs available. I break them down into these categories: academic, art and music, life skills, media and literature, service, sport, and strategy and competition. I'll show you some examples on the next slide. I'll just mention here that, as I said, we rotate these selection every term. We also solicit feedback from the students every term. So the list that I'm going to show you of clubs that have historically been offered or that are currently on offer in this academic year so far, this list is always growing. And it's a challenge to keep our website up to date with all the new clubs. Almost every term, a new club that hasn't been tried before is attempted to varying success. But it's a great chance for the students to again express themselves, take a shot at leadership, and learn some valuable lessons about what's required in organizing and executing something as simple as an after-school activity. Okay, so again, all the categories here are represented, right? Everything from current events, which is a sort of a weekly discussion about what's in the news, where students bring articles of note or of interest to them and discuss them with their classmates each week. We have our arts focused classes, whether it's embroidery, needlework, visual arts, choir, crafts, piano. Life skills, cooking and baking is very popular. Students love any activity that involves a treat at the end, and so that one is a staple in our rotation. Again, literature and culture. I mean, film, book club, yearbook, right? One club that I'd like to highlight in particular is the Backyard Harvest. This is one of our outdoor clubs that operates in the spring and in the fall terms. And this is possible because of a partnership we have with an organization called Backyard Harvest, which operates out of Hamilton, Ontario, which is an adjoining major city here. And this company's mission is to turn urban grass, unused, urban grassland into working organic farms. So this literally means they will come and turn your little plot of land in your backyard into a functioning organic farm. Now, again, as I mentioned, we have a rather large property here. And so for the last, I think it's 7 or 8 years now, they have been developing roughly a quarter or half acre of the property into a functioning organic farm. And this provides students with an opportunity in the fall term and in the spring term to actually plant, tend to, harvest, and eventually eat food right here at the school. So I know in the fall term this year, we had a couple of good harvests where the students picked vegetables they had a hand in growing, and these were brought up to the kitchen, who then offered it to the dining hall. All right, moving on now to our second category, leadership opportunities. Again, we believe that leadership is learned through experience. This is not something that you teach in a classroom. Leadership is developed through practice. And that means giving our students responsibility and asking them to participate in activities that are service-based, that serve others, whether it's the student community, the local community, or the school community more generally. We encourage our students to step forward and take their own initiative, whether it's leading a club or whether it's volunteering in the neighborhood, right, to contribute meaningfully to school life and to the wider community. Even though this is experience-based, the students are not without support. We do try to give them guidance. We show them how to lead through example, through correction, through direction, right, to help build their confidence week over week. All right, show them the kinds of principles that go into effective leadership to make them strong, ethical leaders, so that they can take these skills beyond school, beyond their life at Laureate into university and ultimately into their lives as adults. Some of the opportunities that we offer here, obviously, we have a student council, which meets weekly, organizes events. They're responsible for preparing an assembly for the whole senior school every week on a topic that's relevant to that time of year. So they might do an assembly about the history of a holiday that's coming up, or they might deliver an assembly about study habits, effective studying techniques around exam time. The boarding program also has the position of dorm prefect. These are student leaders within the dorm community or within the boarding community. So they will have certain responsibilities. They will meet with myself and the rest of the boarding staff on a regular basis to discuss issues. And hopefully, when issues do arise, we give them the opportunity to demonstrate their leadership by resolving them with their peers rather than having the boarding staff intervene unless obviously necessary. Our student ambassadors are a key component. These are students who have elected to represent the school in a number of ways. This could be working as a tour guide of the school during our open houses, or at our annual events, which I'll talk about a little bit later. These students represent us at expos and conferences outside of the school. So when we're taking the school to expos with different private schools, these ambassadors will come and represent, answer questions from, prospective parents or agents, people like yourselves. All of these involved service-based learning. In other words, learning through volunteer, learning through serving others. But again, we have things like our volunteer club. This is a weekly club that runs throughout the year, where students get the chance to participate, whether it's working in the kitchen here at the school or working with maintenance. They're learning valuable life skills, right, while serving the school. That's the basis behind service-based learning. Outside of the school, we also offer connections, links, support for students interested in pushing themselves even further. Laureate is an award center for the Duke of Edinburgh's Award, which is an internationally recognized program. It's where students choose for themselves challenges that they commit to in 4 distinct areas, and that their progress is monitored by a series of assessors, guides, and then ultimately approved by us, the Awards Center, and allows them to be part of a network of like-minded adventurers around the world who are participants in the Duke of Edinburgh's Award. And it earns them an award, which is a phenomenal addition to any student's resume. It shows commitment, dedication, leadership. It shows a commitment to personal growth. Just to give you an example, the students must complete challenges which they have chosen for themselves and set out goals for themselves in 4 categories. One is volunteer or service, one is physical recreation, one is skills-based, and one is an adventurous journey. Most recently, we have 4 students here working on their Duke of Edinburgh's Award, and they were taken out just this past weekend to learn winter camping skills in -20-degree weather and snow all over the place in an overnight camping trip we took nearby the school here. So again, a personal growth challenge for every one of them, none of whom had ever been camping before, let alone winter camping. So this involves 6 hours hiking each day, setting up camps, learning to cook on fires and with stoves, a number of valuable skills which really challenge them to grow and work together as a team. We also have a connection with the Toronto Youth Volunteer Network, which is exactly as it sounds. This is a youth-led organization that connects students to volunteer opportunities around the Greater Toronto area. So again, inviting students to move beyond the Laureate community and get involved with the wider community. We have a number of annual events that fall into the sort of beyond the classroom category. I will just point out our 2 flagship events today. One is our Mother's Day concert. This again is organized by our Gifted Arts staff with the help of student volunteers and executed with the help of student ambassadors. It does not. It showcases students performing their particular musical talents, whether that's singing or whether that's playing an instrument, piano, string quartets. But it's also an event where we invite the community to bring their artistic talents to the school. We have a glorious chapel here at Laureate, which provides a wonderful venue for these events. So it's our opportunity to invite the community in and perform not only for our school, but for everyone who lives in the area. It brings together families. We honor mothers, and we because of the diversity of the school and the diversity of our area, we often feature musical performances from different cultures that express different cultural traditions as well. The other concert we perform annually is our Candlelight Concert. This happens early in December. And again, it's another cherished tradition here at Laureate. For those of you who are familiar with candlelight concerts, they're quite popular now. But this is one where it is performed, as you can see from the image here, by candlelight. No fire hazards, I promise. These are LED candles. But again, these will feature seasonal pieces of music coming up to the winter holiday period. Lots of classical music as well as contemporary, and again, features guest musicians from across Ontario. Again, our Gifted Arts teaching staff have connections, have networks that extend far beyond the local area. And so we're able to access some really top-end talent. Again, these events are planned and executed with the help of our student leaders and our student ambassadors under the guidance of our Gifted Arts faculty, which is what makes this not only an opportunity for our students who wish to perform, but for those who simply want to, again, contribute to the school community through service or represent the school as ambassadors. Additionally, we have our annual trips and other events. So I highlighted those two, but here are another few that are regular features on our calendar here, and we'll just call these ones sort of beyond the campus. We do have a student art showcase. Where again, local artists as well as students are invited to showcase their work, and we give out prizes for outstanding examples of student creativity and expression. The school takes regular trips to musical and dramatic performances in Toronto, Oakville. We visit the major theaters in Toronto. We see university performances at nearby schools. We offer a Canadian history excursion exploring some of Canada's most historic cities, Ottawa, Montreal, and Quebec. Again, reaching back to the idea of our unique location, the property is situated or is adjoining the historic Bruce Trail. For those who don't know, this is a 900-kilometer trail that stretches across southern Ontario from Niagara Falls all the way to Tobermory. It is a heritage site. It is protected. And it is one of those challenges that people will spend a lifetime trying to complete. So completing the trail on its own in one stretch could take you 30, 40 days of hiking and camping. But it's one of these things where hikers will often accumulate sections of the trail over the course of a year. Every weekend they'll go and they'll hike another stretch of the trail. As I said, we're very lucky in that the trail runs effectively through our backyard, and we take the students out to explore that trail several times throughout the year as part of our regular program. Again, with service-based learning in mind, we also offer a program called the Elementary Outreach Program. This is where the students design activities for local primary students to engage in and learn from. So, for example, last year, using again the natural beauty of the property, the students created 4 or 5 stations, each with an educational component and a sort of game component that used the outside property. And the students came in from local primary schools and went around to the different stations that were run by the students, learning things like orientation, identifying plants, nature photography, learning history about the land that the school sits on. And it makes for a really fun morning, a great way for the students not only to learn something themselves, but to practice their teaching and to engage with younger students. And then finally, we have our photography contest as well. Similar to the Student Art Showcase, this is a chance for students with a talent or an interest in photography to showcase their skills, earn some accolades, and display their work to the school community and beyond. Just like with our clubs, we are always adding events to the calendar. This is just some of the things that we have done historically. I want to touch briefly now as well on our house system. This typically involves activities that take place during the school day, but it is separate and apart, though again, complementary to the academic curriculum. So, like other schools, we divide our students into 4 houses, which function a little bit like a team within the school community. The students chose their house names, or when this was introduced, the students themselves chose the house names and logos, and they went with mythical creatures here. So we have Sphinx, Phoenix, Triton, and Pegasus. And these teams compete in various ways throughout the year. Some of the competitions are fun and lighthearted, table tennis, soccer competition, dodgeball, that kind of thing. But we also have termly, more academically minded competitions. Each term, the houses are given a STEAM project, and STEAM, I'm sure many of you are familiar with, is an acronym for science, technology, engineering, arts, and math. And this is a way for students to bring all these subjects together to solve a problem or to create or design something which they then have to display and explain to their fellow classmates. Again, in a competitive setting. So, for example, last term, the houses were all charged with creating a band of instruments and performing a song with those instruments. But the instruments had to be constructed entirely with recycled or found materials. So we had some very creative ways of making this work and some very charming performances. And I believe House Pegasus, no, Phoenix won with their performance. But this happens every term. And so it happens during the school day. There's a period every week set aside for house activities, combining this kind of STEAM-focused learning with a little bit of competition, again, promoting teamwork and creativity among the students. Okay. This is sort of my overview of the Beyond the Classroom program. I'm going to turn it over now to our guests here. Thank you all again for listening to me this morning. I'd now like to invite you to submit any questions into the chat, or if you want to raise your hand, we can let you speak. Okay, so I see here, all right, I see one person has got a few questions here. So let's see. If students study here for only 1 year, will they be eligible to receive a school diploma? This will depend somewhat on the credits they have prior to coming here. If their credits can convert, or if they can take the relevant conversion equivalents, then we do have students who have come here only for their final year and earned their Ontario Secondary School diploma. The precise requirements for that will depend on the student, but I do believe, as far as I'm aware, this is possible. I asked about the maximum financial aid available for students from Asia and what the criteria are. And I'm going to put pause on that one for a second. And perhaps, I'm not sure, is Christine in the call? She is our admissions officer. She will be able to better answer that question.
I think the best way is just to send. I'll leave my email address in the chat, and then you can email me, and we can discuss further about that financial piece. Yeah, and day school program. Yeah, we are day school and we're also a boarding school. There will be a boarding program, boarding life webinar coming up at 1 o'clock by Chris again.
Yes, I'll be talking more about the boarding program at another webinar later today. But yes, but we do have a day school as well. About the house's prefect system, should 17-year-olds have disciplinary authority over 13-year-olds? This is a great question. The short answer is the house prefects, or the dorm prefects rather. We do have house prefects as well, but those are simply representatives from the houses that participate in the student council. But I believe this question is more about the dorm prefects. And the answer is that dorm prefects do not have direct disciplinary power or authority. They don't have the authority to enact any sort of disciplinary measures. Instead, they're a point of contact that the students can go to if they have an issue, and the dorm prefects try to encourage a collaborative or a cooperative solution to the problem. If that fails, then they might bring the program or bring the issue to a dorm parent or to myself, the student life director, and then we will resolve it from there. But the dorm prefects do not have authority per se. They are there instead to be role models for the students, to be a sort of student point of contact should a student have an issue and maybe not want to go to a dorm parent right away, and to help resolve minor conflicts only in a collaborative sense. They don't have the authority to take away their devices or issue detention or anything like that. How is the dorm system structurally different from what was used in residential schools? Are you referring to residential schools in terms of the Indigenous population of Canada? Well, perhaps I'll just say a little bit more about the boarding program. Again, if you'd like to learn more, I will be giving a webinar on the boarding program a little bit later. The boarding program is very much an opportunity for students to obviously live here if they're coming from abroad. It makes it much more convenient to attend high school here. But it offers them additional programming outside of the school day to help give them a completely rounded experience. One key thing to point out here is that Laureate is a completely non-denominational school. There's no religious component to our education. The activities, again, the boarding students are required to attend an after-school activity. Other activities that we offer to the boarding program, such as weekend excursions, evening study. Well, evening study period, again, is sort of required to attend, but it is lightly supervised. Just the supervision is there to help students complete their work and stay on top of their academics. It's not sort of like a punishment period or anything like that. And if the students complete their work and the dorm parents are satisfied, then they can use that period to explore other hobbies or interests. It's mostly just a way to keep the students from having too much time to just sit in their rooms and scroll on their phones, that kind of thing. So the dorm system is comparable to other private schools. Um, yeah, again, I'm not sure I'm answering your question because I'm not entirely sure the reference here you're making to residential schools. That is a particular meaning here in Canada um, that I'm not sure if that's what you're asking about. Oh, okay. Um, okay, glad you liked my first answer. Okay, is racism an issue? No, is the answer. We have a diverse community here. Um, the because the school does have the boarding program, we do have a high percentage. It's about two-thirds boarding versus one-third day students right now. And both communities, day students and boarding students, are diverse. Okay, we have students from China, Japan, Ghana, Nigeria. We have students, even our local students, are not uniformly white. So this has not been an issue at all in our community. And in fact, we encourage the cultural sharing in many of our activities, right? So, for example, I mentioned we have the cooking club as one of our co-curriculars. That is one of those places where students with different backgrounds will often choose a meal that is uh, culturally meaningful to them and teach the rest of their classmates how to cook it, and then everyone gets to enjoy it. Or at least sample, right? See if they enjoy it. So we have a number of opportunities like that for our students to share their cultures, which is much more the vibe here, if I can use that sort of casual term. I hope that answers your question, but feel free to follow up. So Canada is pretty well known. I would think pretty well known for being a multicultural country. We certainly pride ourselves on being very welcoming and accepting of many different cultures. Now, I understand how some communities you might fear are more dominated by one group or another. Burlington is not like that where we are. The population here is quite diverse, and like I said, even amongst our day students who live in the area, they are not all uniformly white. The community itself is very welcoming. This is not a community where this is where what you're asking about is something to be concerned about. My pleasure. Don't be shy. Don't be shy if you have a question. I'd love to hear it. While everyone's thinking, I'll just put this to my team here. Are there any FAQs that other people sometimes ask that maybe I can speak to while our guests are thinking it over? Is there anything I've missed?
Chris, I think you cover like most of it. And I think if our guests they have any further questions, they can always email, admissions or email, Christine for an answer. But I think if there are no more questions, I think you can, get your closing remarks.
Well, in closing, I really just left for me to thank you all again for your attention and for your great questions. Again, if you do think of anything else, you can reach out to admissions, who can forward your questions on to me if you need an answer from me directly. But good, we have one more coming in. So the question here is, would I consider Canada a safe place to live in, especially when the kids' parents aren't nearby? 100%. Canada and this area of Canada is a very safe place. Not, I mean, I don't know if you're looking for an answer in terms of crime statistics or something like that. But Burlington, this is the area where the school is. It's extremely rare. Any sort of negative behavior is extremely rare in this area. The students here, beyond a certain age, certainly, frequently are, the older students will leave campus to go to the local shops, come back. They have no issues with that. Yeah, no, Canada and this area in particular are extremely safe. You have no concern, should have no concerns about that. I will also point out, and this is perhaps a reference to the boarding program more than co-curricular, but the point of the aspect of your question when the parents aren't nearby, it's important to remember that even if their parents aren't nearby, right, the school and its boarding staff are always nearby and reachable. There is always someone from the boarding program available for the students to reach out to and connect with, who is on duty, who can respond. So the students are never left, even if they do take a trip off campus to go buy groceries for themselves or something. Okay, they are never without an adult who can respond to their needs. Again, though, I want to emphasize, this is a very safe community. So I'll just wait and make sure you don't have any more follow-ups. I don't want to cut you off.
Swear, do you have any other questions for Dr. Hinchcliffe?
Well, we'll take that as a no, but again, feel free to send any questions to the email address in the chat, admissions@laureatecollege.ca. And if it's something you would like me in particular to answer, they will forward it on to me, and I'd be more than happy to speak further with any of you. So with that, I'd like to thank everyone once more for coming, for your attention, and for your great questions as well. I hope everyone has a wonderful day, and hopefully we will hear from you again in the near future. Thank you, everyone.